Okay, here's how to use layer styles in Photoshop. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go to Photoshop, and then I'm going to go File, New, and this time I'm going to make my box not square because I want to make it a little wider. So I'm going to go 8 pixels here so that you're not making a huge billboard. Then you go Untitled up here. I'm going to call this Layer Styles or Steve's Layer Styles. And make sure it's 72 resolution. I'm going to say OK. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up here somewhere, and I'm going to make some text. So we're going to mess with the text a lot. So I'm going to make a text box here, and then I'm just going to type my name. Now, the reason I'm not seeing anything is I'm typing white on white. See this? So I can highlight what I just typed, and I can go up here, or I can go here. Let's just go here, and feeling Seahawk green today. So I'm going to put it like that, learn to spell my name. So I'm going to highlight Steve, and I'm going to choose a little funner font this time, not so bland. So I'll go Lithos maybe. Yeah, let's try Lithos. Got a little bit of weird look to it. And I'm going to make it bigger by going to 72. And I want it even bigger, so I'm going to type in 200. There. And so now I'm going to use my move tool, and I'm going to move Steve to the center. All right, now if you go down through here, it's got, this talks about how to make changes and so on like that. Now there's a couple ways to get to your layer styles. You can double click on Steve here, and that will bring up the layer style. Or you can go to layer styles, blending options, and drop shadows and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and double click on, double click on the name because it'll do. You click out here in the blue of the box. And now here's what's cool about this. There's all kinds of effects on here. You can see that here's a list of style presets. Over here's effects that you can do to it. And this is your options over here, how to do that. And it also has a preview. If you click over here, it'll kind of show you what you're working with. So let's go down here and let's try some of these like that. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new document in Photoshop and use the type tool to have some large black text. They said black. I'm going to just, I got green, so I'll just leave it green because it doesn't really matter. So the first thing we're going to do is add a drop shadow. So what we do is you click on the drop shadow effect, and you can see there's already a drop shadow there. Now what you can do is you can go up here and you can choose different things like this. Multiply is what they start with. I've seen screen. I think if you do screen, it doesn't show on white background, so you got to be careful of which ones you do. So let's just go back up to multiply. And then over here, you have all these different settings. You can actually drag the shadow around if you want, like that, and make it a little further away from the word. And then if you also use the spread, it kind of makes it a little larger. And then the size will kind of dissipate a little bit so it doesn't look so harsh. You know, it's like a real shadow like that. So you can do whatever you want there. There's all kinds of fun things to do with that sort of thing. So now let's go down and add some bevel and emboss. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on bevel and emboss, and you have other choices. There's outer bevel, and you can kind of see what it does. There's emboss. There's pillow emboss, which is supposed to make it look it's stitched in there, but it doesn't look very good with the shadow. So the best way is go to inner bevel or something like that. You can also do chiseled. See how it looks like it's exactly that, chiseled, or you can chisel it harder, or you can just do smooth. And then again, the depth of your emboss gives it more of a 3D effect, and the size of the emboss will mess with different things, so you can see what it does to it there. If you want to have a little bit of curvature to it and that sort of thing. And again, soften. I think you have to actually do some stuff here, but anyway, and so on. And then there's shading of the emboss if you move this around, but then it also messes with your shadow unless you turn off the global light. And over here, you can see the preview of what you're doing. So I'm going to add a little. That's all the emboss I want. Okay, so now all you're going to do is go down and add a gradient overlay. So gradient overlay is right here. So you click on the gradient overlay, and that changes this to here. And we've got, there's a blend mode here and so on like this. And this is the type of gradient. So if you want the gradient, see right now the gradient's going up and down. But if I do it here, it'll go side to side. Or if I go, here, then it goes dark on top and light on the bottom, and on and on. But if you also, you can do what's called a radial. So it's dark in the middle, goes out, or at an angle, or reflected. So it's, light, then dark, then light, and so on like that. So let's just go back to linear. And you can change the gradient by clicking inside this color box here. And if you want, you can choose a preset gradient like these, or you can make your own by clicking new, and then it'll go default there, but you click on your new one, and you can change it mine, and say okay. And then down here, what you can do is you can click on this and say, I'm not really up for red today. I'm thinking more like Seahawks, so blue there. And then I can say, I already got a blue in there, so let me change this blue. And notice I'm clicking down here in the box to more of a Seahawk green. And then this, oops, I gotta say okay here. And then this box here, again, let's go more like a Seahawk green. So now I've got a gradient overlay with the Seahawk colors, and I can move my gradient so it affects how it looks down there. You can see the preview on like a stripe through the middle. Oops, added one. Oh, if you add one you don't want, you just go up there and click off. Or if you want another one, you just click here in the box area. So I click on this guy here, and then I can make him a little, so I make my streak of blue through the middle of it. And then I say okay, and so there's my gradient. And I can also go through and do some other things. There's some color overlay. There's pattern overlay. I can make it look like it's got, but you can also do some other things like an outer glow, and you can make it look like it's glowing a neon glow. And let me see, let me change the color to like a purplish neon. And then again, like I say, if you make the spread a little bigger and size a little bigger like that, you make it look like neon, but that looks really ugly, so I'm going to turn that off. And so anyway, there's a whole bunch of different things that you can do in there, and you see it like that, and then you go File, Save, and again, save it as a PSD the first time. Always save it as a PSD the first time, and then afterwards, you can go File, after it saves here. Then you go File, Save As, and save it as a JPEG, and that's if you want to post it or use it as a picture on the internet or something like that. And that's how you do the Layer Styles tutorial.